Good evening on this Wednesday. Thank you for joining us. You're watching the 9 at Night. I'm Stephania Jimenez. You haven't heard her name for months, but former Constable Michelle Barrientes Vela, who was convicted of tampering, was back in court today. She wants a judge to give her a new trial. Our Dylan Collier was at that hearing.
Just 2 months into serving her 5 years of probation, convicted felon Michelle Barrientes Vela returned to 226 District Court. Her new attorney spelling out a myriad of reasons why his client should be entitled to a new tampering trial. At the center of that argument,
and official oppression.
The flubbed testimony of Texas Ranger Bradley Freeman, who nearly caused a mistrial in late August when he brought up criminal allegations against Barrientes Vela that were off limits. Freeman was later held in contempt of court. But other complaints from the ex-constable on Wednesday were head-scratchers. One of her defense attorneys was interrupted, ironically, by coughing in the courtroom while she testified that a hacking juror made it difficult for fellow jurors to hear the evidence.
I don't remember exactly what parts there was coughing, but it was like throughout the entire trial.
Judge Velia Mesa pointed out that no objections were raised at the time and also took issue with claims from attorney Jasmine Olguin that juror number 1 was sleeping at key moments during the proceedings, asking Olguin how she knew the person was asleep. Barrientes Vela's fourth argument is that a large number of armed district attorney investigators in the gallery throughout the trial gave off the false impression that the former constable was a dangerous defendant. The deadline in this case is March 20th. Judge Mesa can issue a ruling or simply let the motion expire. Reporting at the Bexar County Justice Center, Dylan Collier, KSAT 12 News.
Now, Barrientes Vela is planning to appeal her felony convictions, and she can avoid serving 90 days in jail while that appeal plays out. A former Bexar County Sheriff's deputy is facing multiple kidnapping charges, and he's died while waiting for his trial. An online obituary shows 52-year-old Floyd Berry died at the end of January. Court records state that the district attorney's office received word about his death yesterday and dismissed the charges. Berry was accused of forcing multiple women to expose themselves during traffic stops or arrests in 2019. The sheriff's office then fired him the following year. Berry's trial was scheduled for the 27th of this month. We now know who was killed in his car over on the weekend on the city's west side. According to the Bexar County Medical Examiner, the victim is 28-year-old Frank Rodriguez. San Antonio police say that last night he was found dead in his white sedan on Sherrill Drive with a gunshot wound. Officers say that it appears the shooting happened between two vehicles, but we don't know why. Investigators also don't know what the shooter looks like. 17-year-old was wounded after a shooting yesterday. It happened around 10 p.m. along the 2000 block of Burnett Street around North Walters and East Houston. Authorities say that 3 teens were driving when another car pulled up, started firing at them. One was shot in the legs, and the 17-year-old was critically injured. SAPD confirms that they don't yet have any suspects in this case. They're also investigating how the shooter and the victims are connected. Now let's check on your Thursday morning forecast. Here's meteorologist Adam Caskey.
More of the same tomorrow. Low clouds, some fog, a little bit of drizzle to start the day at 7 a.m., 66 degrees. And then into the afternoon, we're sunny and 85. Friday, the first of 2 cold fronts arrives, drops us to 74 for the high. Isolated or stray showers and storms Thursday night into Friday morning. We don't think we'll see much, though. Into the weekend, temperatures rebound into the 80s. Only to drop again with our second cold front next week. Highs right near 70 by Monday and Tuesday, and some crisp, cool mornings back in the 40s.
Hopefully this is something that you've never had to think about, but what can you do if you have constant issues with people from a home in your neighborhood and you keep calling the police but nothing happens? Well, that's what neighbors who live in the area where dogs attacked and killed an elderly man last month have been asking. So we brought that question to several city departments. Police had more than 100 calls for service tied to that home over the course of 2 years. And Animal Care Services had a dozen of its own 311 calls. There were even code issues, although the development services say that they weren't serious. The city attorney's office does coordinate a dangerous assessment response team, or DART team, to tackle those nuisance properties with documented history of problems. But a city spokeswoman says that that property would not have been a DART inspection because the types of calls for service don't meet what's required by state law. A new Braunfels special education teacher is in the Bexar County Jail on a $250,000 bond. He's accused of having an improper relationship with a student. Bexar County Sheriff's deputies arrested 41-year-old Bryant Shepard, and according to city officials, he was seen allegedly having inappropriate contact with a female student on campus. The school district told police, who then started an investigation. So now he faces a second-degree felony charge. New Braunfels police are also encouraging other possible victims to come forward by calling them. Their number's on your screen. It's 830-221-4100. San Antonio police and Crime Stoppers need your help tonight. They're trying to identify that man who they believe broke into several mailboxes at a Northwest Side apartment complex. So this right here is screenshot from security video on February 18th at the apartments on Cinnamon Creek. That's near Fredericksburg and Wurzbach roads. Police say that someone saw the alleged crime, confronted the suspect, who then assaulted them before taking off. So if you know anything, if you know who that guy is, call Crime Stoppers. That number is 210-224-STOP. Lots of questions tonight about a house fire in the Government Hill neighborhood. That fire broke out around 7:30 in the morning on Mason Street, which is near North New Braunfels Avenue and I-35. When firefighters got there, the flames were spewing from a front window and they then spread to the attic of the home. But here's the thing, investigators don't know what caused the fire or even how many people lived in that home. Because while investigators were there, a woman told them that she escaped the fire. She was home alone when the fire started, but then later, she said that a second man from the home was missing. Investigators say they looked, but they couldn't find anyone else in the home. A person is in the hospital suffering from smoke inhalation after a fire in an apartment. Happened this morning at 8:20 on Magic Drive near Callahan and Fredericksburg. That's where a mattress caught fire in one of the units. Firefighters put it out, but it caused a lot of smoke inside. Before we go, we have news that might affect your wallet. The Federal Reserve may raise interest rates higher than expected, so that means your credit card bill and your home and car loans could go up. ABC's Tim Pulliam explains when the Federal Reserve could move forward on this and also why.
Despite fears of recession and inflation near record highs, America's economy seems to be going strong. With unemployment hovering 3.4%, the job market is growing. The bottom line, people are working and spending despite rising prices. This means when the Federal Reserve meets in 2 weeks, they'll potentially hike rates 0.25% or even 0.5%. The Fed's looming decision is an effort to slow down the economy, decrease the amount of money circulating, which would bring down demand on the cost of goods and services. So, if you're carrying a credit card balance, it will likely get more expensive. If you want to take out a new car loan or mortgage, those are likely to get more expensive too. Home buyers, take a look at this. For about $1,650 a month, you could have taken out a $400,000 mortgage a little over a year ago when rates were 3%. But today, $1,650 a month will only cover a $240,000 mortgage with rates now 7%. On Capitol Hill, Senator Elizabeth Warren raising concerns to Fed Chair Jerome Powell that the rate hike could create massive job losses.
And we're not targeting any of that, but I would say even 4.5% unemployment is well better than most of the time for the last 75 years.
Today, the White House also weighing in.
Our economists believe that what the president has put forth as a plan to make sure that we're building an economy from the bottom up, middle out, is indeed working, and we see that in the data.
The president's budget will be released tomorrow. The White House says it's projected to cut the deficit by nearly $3 trillion over the next 10 years. Tim Pulliam, ABC News, Los Angeles.
We're out of time. The Night at Night returns tomorrow. Have a lovely night. We'll see you tomorrow.